even know where he... Oh my God. Got a good one. Solid one. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. This is not a giant by any means. That is just a solid male bass here on Lake Fork. And today, we're going to teach you guys how to become one of the best sight fishermen on earth. I wonder if I can catch that bass out from under that gator. Fishing, man, it's an awesome way to catch them. It's probably my favorite way to catch them. Part of it probably has to do with the fact that it's only available for a limited time of year. Like while supplies last, while they're up there spawning, that's the only time you can go look at them on a bed. And I love doing it, man. I always have since the first time I ever did it. Man, it can be a little tough. You know, anybody tells you sight fishing's easy, they ain't done it. They certainly haven't done it at a high level. And they definitely haven't done it on a pressured lake like Lake Fork. Lake Fork, different beast, man. You go to other lakes, fish can be a little easier to catch off beds. But the biggest thing about catching fish on Lake Fork off beds is going to be the easiest way you can do it is to find fish that other people don't fish for. And so that entails seeing them differently or seeing them better. Some of that can be being young and having good eyes. Some of that can be done with eyewear. Let's talk about eyewear real quick. These are not that expensive, man. These are Wiley X's. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not the $250, $400 glass lens, $500 glass lens. None of that, right? These are just Wiley X copolymer lenses. The main thing is the color of your lens. Y'all see that copper right there? Y'all see how bright it is on the inside when you look through it? It's about brightening everything up. You got to be careful. Don't get sunglasses that are too dark. If you get too dark, man, in dirtier water, in cloudy conditions, and when fish are on deeper beds, you're not going to see those fish nearly as well with those dark lenses as you will with light lenses that brighten things up. These are really light. I mean, amber is a good color to go with. These are just dang near like not even amber, like they're almost yellow lenses or copper lenses. I just found them at an academy. I love the lens color on them. When I put them on, it brightened everything. It was brightening my garage. The white looks whiter on the wall right now. So that's a big deal. Find you a pair of glasses that brighten things up, has a yellow to an amber colored lens. That's going to really help you see fish better. That's one thing you can do. But a year ago, we went out and filmed a sight fishing video. We were only out for 3 or 4 hours, and all the fish we caught were in one cove. It was a cloudy day, a hard day to see a deep bed fish. But we were still able to show you guys how we were able to go about finding deep bed fish. So later in the video, I'm going to show you guys a totally new bed fishing technique that I have not heard anybody really discuss or break down. I'm sure some guys have done it. I have not personally seen or heard the videos where guys are really breaking down how to go about bed fishing in this manner. And yes, it has to do with using live sonar for bed fishing. So we're going to discuss that later in the video. I went out and did that the other day. Right now, let's look back at a video that we filmed last year and show you guys exactly how to go about finding the less pressured bed fish on Lake Fork.
And you can see bright spots and holes way up in this grass on Lake Fork, and you will find some fish up in that. And those fish are really easy to see. The thing about Lake Fork is we get so much pressure, everybody knows that. So really the key is, to having bedfish success, one of the biggest keys is to find the fish that other people don't. And right now, the situation we're in, the water's clearing up a little bit day by day. If you get in the right pockets, we're just getting now to where right there I can see the bottom on the outside edge of this junk. Now there's gonna be fish spawning in holes in there, and every once in a while there'll be a big one. Yeah, that's worth fishing for. But if I can find the fish that are out here, like there's a bright spot, I don't know if the camera will show it, I doubt it very seriously, but there's a little brown spot right here. I'm talking about in the water right in front of me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going right down the edge and getting literally almost on top of these fish. Here's the other thing. If there was a fish on that and he stays with my boat this close and he stays on that bed or just swims off a little bit and then goes back to it, I don't even need to see that fish to catch it. I can then back off away from that fish and just flip to that bed where I marked it. I can mark that bed on a piece of grass behind it or whatever, line up exactly where that pinpoint spot is, and just flip there over and over and over again. And usually within about 5, maybe 10 minutes tops, you'll catch that fish. Those fish that aren't getting flipped for, they're like all the other bass that are spawning on other lakes. Those fish that are up in that junk are not like other spawning bass on other lakes. They are hard to catch when everybody's flipping for them. So right now I'm going right down the edge. I'm getting right on top of these fish, looking for subtle shadows and movements in those beds. And if one will stay around that bed and show himself to me a little bit and stay around when the boat's on top of him, I've got confidence that I can catch that fish. Can't see anything, but I'm pretty sure that fish's bed is right out here, so it's gonna be the first flip to it. And we're just gonna work it to the edge of that grass and drop it in. You'll notice I pitched past there and swam the bait in. I'll show y'all how I do that on the next flip. Right now I'm just lightly shaking. Look how little my hand's actually moving. And also notice I'm just shaking the slack in my line. You don't want to move that bait forward. You want to let that bait sit in that bed and kind of shimmy and shake without sliding forward in the bed as little as possible. Take it out of the bed. I always like to hop it and snap it when I take it out of the bed, just to have sudden, sharp, quick movements. I think those fish respond better to that kind of stuff. I meant to show you the thumb and drag there, but I didn't. Oh, okay. That fish must have bumped it with its tail or slightly picked it up and pushed it forward and dropped it, because my bait kind of came towards me right there. But watch my hand right here. So I'll do what I call a thumb and drag. So I throw it well past the bed, thumb it, and drag it right on the surface till it's right at the back of the bed. Then I can slide it right in where I want it. And that just ensures me that I get it placed exactly in the back of the bed. If you try to pitch right to a spot, man, it's really difficult to be that pinpoint to hit it on the very back corner of the bed every time. And you always want to get that bait in the back of the bed and shimmy it and work it and let it slide down through that bed. That's how I like to do it. So right now I've started out here where I can see absolutely nothing. I can't see the bed, I can't see the fish. I'm just going based off of memory, trying to mark off a piece of grass up there where that bed was. Now it's pretty hard to get right sometimes, unless, if you got stumps in the water and they're next to it or something, that's a lot easier. But this one's kind of difficult to get lined up exactly, because it all kind of looks the same. It's all just that grass, and it's kind of hard to get it lined up when you're up there and then you come back out here, a different perspective. It's hard to make sure that you're lined up exactly correctly on that. So I may slide in just a little bit to see if I can at least see the bed. I don't want to see the fish. I just want to at least see the little light spot so that I know I'm pitching in the perfect spot. Go. So this is just a good solid sized male bass that has just pulled up on that deeper bed. And like I said, we weren't here very long. I was actually talking to a guy I know who's fishing right across from me over there, but flipped in there and that fish just picked up and walked off with it. So about 5 minutes usually, maybe 10 minutes. If you'll find those deeper beds, they're just a lot easier to bite. I mean, I'm looking, I've got my hook hole and nothing else. So that fish is just pulled in. That's a male bass. And that's a good sized male. And when he gets a female partner on that deeper bed, it'll be a big one guaranteed. So cool looking fish, got some black spots on him. All right, so we got a male and a female on this bed. The female's acting a little more wandering, but I made one pitch in there and the male bit it and spit it real quick. So this should go down pretty quick. If nothing else, it should go down pretty quick on the male. By the way, right there, if you make a bad pitch and it's gonna land right on top of the bed, grab it and pull it back before it lands like I just did. Throw it past, swim it in. Male's in there right now. I can't see the female. Missed that a little bit more to the right than I wanted to be there. Oh, female's poking her head in. That's good. That's a good sign. It's hard to say from this distance and how little I'm seeing of these fish how big this female is, but it's long enough to cover the bed. It's not a real great big bed, but it's long enough to cover the whole bed, that's for sure. Male just flipped down on it. So right now the female's in there, so even if the male were to bite it, I'd probably, now the female's down on it. If I knew for sure the male had bit it, I would probably try to let him spit it out, because I want to catch the female. And if I can do that by shaking off the male, I will. All right, Female is staying in, staying in. I'm presenting the bait to her. It's right around her. She just swam out. She kicked out right there. So I may have hit her with the line or something. She acted a little spooky there. Boys. It may not sound like it, but as many times as I've done this, I am shaking like a leaf on the inside right now, fellas. Oh, I think that male just slapped at it. The male don't look like a half bad fish. He's decent, I think. Come on. Just in and out. Notice how quick I'm going in and out of this bed. I don't leave it in there very long. Get it in there, shake it, let them look at it. If they don't want to commit to it, I yank it out and pop it right back in there. Nail. So, little male. Maybe he'll be a little more reluctant to bite now. And judging by what he looked like versus what she looks like, I say she's at least a 5 or 6 pounder minimum. But it's hard to say from here. So there's the male. Now, once I've caught him, he should be more reluctant to get on the bed and be aggressive. He's a brand new one too, by the way. And a lot of times you catch it and just let the male go. That allows the female to be comfortable that her partner's back there, but he will not get up and protect the bed as well. And a lot of times that is when she will then get up there and bite. I've heard of guys live welling fish to make the female bite. In my opinion, it doesn't work nearly as well as simply letting the male go and letting him get back up there. A lot of times if you don't let that male go, that female just won't ever get comfortable enough to get back up on that bed, and you'll lose her altogether. She'll quit showing up at all. She'll just wander off on you. So now we have wind ripple and I can't see the bed at all. So of course, perfect. I gotta hope that I'm pitching in the right spot now. Before I could at least see the light spot of the bed. There she is. Right on the next flip. She got on there to protect that bed. Oh, she's bigger than that. She's bigger than I thought she was. That's a big old joker. Oh, at least she's pulling hard. Keep her down. She's fat. She just pulled in. Here we go, boat flip. Yeah, look how fat. That's what Lake Fork in the springtime is all about, folks at home. Holy cow. Short and fat, not a long fish. Only thing wrong with that one, her head's too close to her butt, boys. That is a daggum beauty though. Probably about a 6 pounder, I'd say. Maybe 6.5. I don't know what she'd weigh. She might go up higher than that because she's so thick. That makes a big difference on them. That's a beautiful fish. Man, that's awesome. Oh, he come off. That's the old one flipper. The one flipper. Oh no. Here's something that happens. Look here. That weight banging around on there. And I've had this weight on here for days, or this bead on here for days. But the top of it says flat. It's chipped, the glass chipped. Now once that happens, it's going to shred your line. You've got to change that bead right away once it gets a chip in it. It will cause major issues. And that sucks because that fish is ready to bite. He's got it. Oh, it's a big one too. Swam out. As I swam it out, it chased it down and ate it. Holy cow, it's a big one. Holy! Oh man, it's a big old joker. What do you think? What do you think, Princess?
Put it back.
Let it go? Don't get away from the trolling motor and stuff.
Of course, it's a big one.
I tried to talk Princess into catching this one. She didn't want to. Both flip that big old thing. That's a stud, boys.
That was supposed to be my fish.
You turned it down. You said no. What an awesome fish. Big old giant. So as you guys can see, man, this place is just, Lake Fork sure is special, man. There's so much of this swimming around. We got the moon phase. We're 2 days after it now. Tomorrow should actually be better than today, but there's more females pulling up, and it gets better as the day goes on. We've been in this pocket now for about an hour and a half, and these females are just starting to get in here. We'll have to leave early today, but as the day goes on, more and more of these, and even bigger than this, will show up with these males that are in here. It's just an unbelievable fishery, man. Unbelievable. Yeah, pretty good one. Pretty good one. Get up here. Nice one. Nice one. Little chunk. Not bad. Not bad. It is so easy when you do it right, man. Especially when you get on these new ones that are coming. Look how clean that fish's belly is. How clean her tail is. Like he or she, probably just a big male there. I mean, they're just getting to these beds. And man, it sure does make it easy when you get on them like that. Another good one. Golly. That joker is mad. That's what a fresh bedfish, that's a fresh bedfish's attitude. They get angry very quickly and they don't give up very easy. And there's only one hole in his mouth as well. That's a big old solid male right there. That's the only one I'm seeing on bed, so I assume it's a male that just got here. These male bass can be kind of thick and fat like that, especially when they first get in here, because these fork fish just got a lot to eat, but that's just a big solid male right there. Hopefully in the next couple days we can see his girlfriend, because I bet she will be a straight dandy.
So as you can see from that footage, man, when you find the less pressured fish, they are so much easier to catch. They're not hard to catch at all, and that's the easiest thing you can do to improve your catch ratio on pressured fish like Lake Fork. Now, if you go to other lakes and there's fish on the bank that are just acting stupid and they're not running from your boat, basically reading their behavior is the deal, man. Like if they don't run from your boat at all, or they run a little bit and come right back, whether they're shallow or deep, hey, that's a fish you want to fish for. On Lake Fork, most of the fish are going to run off the bed that are up shallow when your boat goes by. That's going to mean those fish are harder to catch 99% of the time. Now, sometimes a fish will not run from your boat on Lake Fork, and then you'll flip, and he just won't hardly react to the bait at all. That fish has just been beat to death, and pretty much we call that suicide watch fish. Like, that fish is done with life. He doesn't care anymore. He's not reacting to anything, and those can waste some of your time as well. But even if you're on a lake that doesn't have pressure, here's the other thing about what we just taught you about looking for deeper bedfish that people don't see. Number one, people don't see them. They're going to be easier to catch. Even if you're on less pressured lake, there's an even less pressure by targeting those deeper bedfish that are harder to see. Number two, that's where some of your biggest fish. Can you find a giant way up on the bank where it's easy to see? Yeah, I've found plenty of them over the years. Most of the time when you get a female on a deep bed that's real hard to see, it's going to be a big one, and I mean a real big one. And your very biggest ones are going to be typically on your deepest beds that are harder to see, and I'm sure that makes sense to most everybody. So that's the deal, man. If you can learn that, getting right over the top of them deal like we talked about, and finding those less pressure fish, it's going to make your bed fishing success rate go through the roof. So that's number one. Number two is, let's go over and look at a live sonar fish catch that we filmed just this week. It's something I'm just getting into this year. So for me to go on here and teach a whole in-depth segment, that's not what you're fixing to see. You're going to see me kind of scratching the surface of it right now because that's all I've done. But I like the idea of when I see a real big fish on a deep bed, and I can't, the bed's so deep I can't even see the bed without getting right on top of it. Now I have a way to target those fish, and you're going to see me connect on one here that I tried to fish for. I had tried to have a customer fish for it the day before, where we could just barely make out the bed, and we were too close. The fish wouldn't stay on the bed. We were too close. When we flip in there, I mean, it would stay when our boat was there, but when we flip in there, the fish would just leave. It's just bigger fish sometimes are more sensitive. And this was just a particular fish that was not cooperating with us when we could barely see it. So I backed off even further on this day, and I started looking at it with live sonar, and I've done this just a couple of times now, and it's pretty awesome, the success rate so far. I'm really, really starting to dig this whole bed fishing with the live sonar thing. I will tell you, I don't mention this in the video, but my ideal range is about 40 feet. I can get a really good return on the live sonar on active target with that, and it's also within like a max good pitching range when I'm about 40, 50 feet away. I try to keep the fish about 40 feet away is when I try to stop and set the poles down. It's about 40 feet. And that allows me to pitch to 50 feet and swim the bait back in like we talked about before. But check this out, man. Here's some video of me looking at one on live sonar, talking to you guys about what I'm seeing, and then catching a fish off the bed.
So there's the fish. The fish are spawning right next to this root, this tree, and you can see the fish right there, and here's the other fish. So just saw the one swimming around the bed up here. This one's out in front. But when I pitch my bait in there, see if you guys will get a shot of my bait going into that bed. All right. Fish is at the base. My bait's in there. Something swimming around. Now, he may have been swimming off because I just caught him. There comes one swimming around it. You can tell the big one because you can see her tail separate from her body. See that? And she's actually swimming out towards me, so that's not good. We want her to go back to the bed. There's one of them in the bed right now while the jig's in there. I want my jig hopping right on one. Spooked it. Okay, hop my jig at one and it spooked it. Not a big deal. There's my jig coming in. So the bed's actually just a touch to the right of that little stick up there. But I like keeping that stick up on the screen because it gives me a point of reference to throw my bait to, because I can barely see the top of that in the water. It's kind of hard to see. That a boy. That's a little male that was in there with that bigger one. Yeah. We just can't catch any of the females today, dude. Everybody give some love to my cameraman. This is Simpson Russian. He's my buddy now. He also was my guide customer. The first day that I guided as a full-time guide, when I'd worked my last day at my regular job, the first morning, him and his wife were my first customers that I had as a full-time guide. Remember that day?
It was an awesome day.
That's the day we met, and about 9 o'clock that morning, what happened?
The old wife caught her a 10-pounder.
Your wife, his wife caught like a, was it 10-3, 10-4, something like that?
We'll say 10.5.
10.5. It was big. It was big. We might have to go back and find the footage and insert that here because it was huge. That was awesome. But yeah, that's how we met. That'll bond you. You'll become friends real quick when that happens, won't it?
Yes, sir.
Y'all give Simpson a shout out in the comments for the camera work today. Can you get him? Oh, look at that mouth.
It's pretty.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty. What do I do with this?
Just, here you go. I'll get that. Let's see what it says.
And make sure it's not touching on that other side. Yeah, let me back here that. Okay.
10:31. We said 10 1/4 on mine, so mine was off by about an ounce.
That's good. That's good. That's
Hey.
a very nice fish.
Hold it up, show it to the camera, Miss Jamie.
Yeah, hold it out toward him. Yeah.
That's what we do at Lake Fork. You guys call me if y'all want to get on the trip.
That's
Check that out right there.
Were you in the tournament? No, ma'am.
She's in there. Oh my gosh. Come on, they're both in there. My gosh. So what you're seeing on the live sonar is you're seeing partial images of the fish at times. It's not always all on there. Let's see, which side is she on? This side, nope. This side, nope. So she's just hanging so tight to that little stump that's by their bed that you can't even really see her. You saw her flash up. Well, I don't know if I got that on camera or not, but she just flashed up on my jig as I reeled it out of there. That's a good sign. Oh my God. It's the male. It's not the big one. It's the male.
On the scope?
Yeah, scoped it off the bed. Yep.
Scoped it off.
Scoped it off the bed. It's a big old male, ain't it? Look at that.
All right, so kind of learning a new way to bed fish, man, for fish that you can't see. We talked last year about catching fish that you can't see on Lake Fork. That's a big deal. Well, there's a fish that I've actually gone up and looked at in person with my eyes the last 2 days in a row and couldn't ever get her to bite. And this is the male to that fish. Now, the fish that's in there is huge. She's a double digit. I'm 99% sure she's a double digit. Also, another thing I'm doing, I can see the return a lot better on the live sonar with this jig. So jig fishing is just as good as the Texas rig in a bed. They bite it just as good. But on top of that, when you're using live sonar to target fish that you can't see with your eyes, the jig is going to give you, you're going to see your bait and know when that fish is near your bait a lot better when you're doing that. And oh, by the way, that is the brand new Versa jig from Bass Amigos that's just about to be released. This is my favorite jig. I actually designed this jig. And I've been jig fishing a long time. You guys have seen me catch a lot of big fish on jigs. I'm really proud of how that jig's come out. It will be available to you guys very, very soon. There's a male. We'll get him back in. Hopefully we can catch his girlfriend because she is real big.
Well, we never did end up catching that female, and that's unfortunate because I will tell you, I saw her real up close and personal. The first time I saw her and the male were in the bed. I was right on top of them like we talked about earlier, and she turned up on in where her tail was sticking up, and her tail was from here to here wide, like the very end of her tail. Her tail got right up by the surface. She was huge. When I first saw her and that male together, I thought the male was a little 2-pounder. He was more like a 4-pounder. When I thought he was a 2-pounder, I thought she was 10, maybe 11. So I don't know how big that fish was, but I do know she was extremely big, definitely over 10 pounds in my opinion, probably 12 or so or maybe bigger. So would have been the biggest bedfish I'd ever caught if I was able to catch her. So disappointed, but I've seen enough big fish over the years that, man, sometimes those real big ones just can't really be caught off those beds. They don't get big for no reason, as we all say, and they're really hard to get to bite sometimes. And didn't get that one to go that day. But you know what? We're going to see some more before this season's over on those. I have no doubt now that we're really targeting the deeper beds with live sonar and everything. We're finding the beds with our naked eye, going right over the top of them, seeing the movement, and then we're giving them some time to settle in, backing off, setting up 40 feet away. That's how I'm using live sonar. I know some guys use it in perspective mode. I like it in vertical. Here's why. If I put it in perspective mode, yeah, I can see where the fish is swimming around the bed, side to side, laterally, how far away from the bed it is, all that. But really, I don't need to know what that fish is doing. I just need to know how long does it take the fish to come back to the bed, and where in the bed is she when my bait's in there. And what I can see in the vertical mode, the forward-looking mode, is I can see that fish just like you saw me go, oh, like when I was, right before I got bit, you heard me kind of freaking out a little bit because I saw that fish, bait's down here on the floor, on the bottom of the lake, in that bed. I see the fish come in like this, and I see the blob drop down to my bait. I know when that fish is nosing down on my bait if I'm looking in forward-facing mode. If I'm looking in perspective mode or scout mode or whatever you want to call it, I can't tell when that fish goes down on my bait. So I like it better. Plus, you don't have to switch it back and forth. You just keep it the same way you normally fish it most of the time anyway. Makes it simpler. I like it like that for those reasons. So that's it for today's video, man. I really think if you take these things, if you go find those less pressured fish, you're going to be a better bed fisherman. In fact, you're going to be one of the best bed fishermen on earth because literally 99% of people, even a lot of tour pros, never find those fish or look for those fish out in that deeper water that are really, really hard to see because when they do find them, then they don't have the confidence to flip at them pretty much blind. And they, most people just don't like doing that. If you'll practice that, have patience with it, build confidence that you can throw it a bed without seeing the fish and catch the fish. Build that confidence, and you will be one of the best bed fishermen on earth. That's the way it goes. I mean, it's that easy, but it takes a lot of patience, and it takes time to build confidence in that deal. So hope this helps you guys out, man. Go catch more and bigger fish. Love you, fellow man, and we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.
I mean, I can hook him, but I don't know what I'm going to do once I do hook him. Look, he's going over my bed. There's a big one on the bed right there. He's going right over it. He literally, look, that bass is literally staring down the gator. That is some of the coolest crap. That bass literally was having a standoff. Get out of my bed, you idiot. Damn it. I wonder if I can catch that bass out from under that gator. That'd be really cool. I just want the gator to go away. My jig was literally on his back. There you go. Get out of here. Go on, Gary, and get now. You're causing problems. Don't muddy up the bed, please. Dang, Gary. Little Gary's messing us up, dude. What if he comes over here and is like looking at me right here and like, I know you threw that jig at me. I'm normally not very scared of gators, but I kind of went after that one, so now I'm a little worried. Like he might come back at me. I don't know how this is going to work out. We'll see.